Up by stretching that young, aggressive Cleveland Brown linebacker group, but then Kevin Bentley misses the tackle on the back half of that, and the big fella takes it the distance.
Jamal Lewis achieved incredible records, but his involvement in drug dealing and financial struggles overshadowed his success, leaving him in a dire state. His standout career with the Ravens included winning Super Bowl XXXV as a rookie and rushing for 2,066 yards in 2003, the third highest in NFL history at the time. Despite these achievements, Lewis faced ongoing personal challenges that overshadowed his success. In February 2004, news emerged that Lewis was involved in discussions about a drug deal. He faced charges for planning to possess and distribute 5 kilograms of cocaine and using a cell phone in connection with the offense. After negotiating with prosecutors, Lewis reached a plea deal in October 2004 and was sentenced to 4 months in federal prison in January 2005. He served his time and was released on June 2, 2005. In April 2010, Lewis filed for bankruptcy in Georgia, revealing assets worth $14.5 million, but debts totaling $10.6 million. This included a hefty judgment of over $350,000 for defaulting on a loan from the bank, whose name graces the Ravens Stadium. Then, on October 31, 2011, Regions Bank filed a lawsuit against Lewis for failing to repay a $660,000 loan. Adding to his financial challenges, a Super Bowl XXV championship ring that Lewis had received from Ravens owner Stephen Bisciotti was auctioned off in February 2015, fetching over $50,000. The Ravens organization indicated that Lewis sold the ring due to financial difficulties, highlighting the tough times he faced despite his stellar career in football. Since leaving prison, Lewis has pursued a career outside of football. In January 2015, he began working as the Vice President of Business and Development at Metro Exhibits, a company specializing in trade show exhibits. According to a profile by Bleacher Report, Lewis has dealt with the lingering effects of concussions from his NFL career. Currently, he holds the position of president at Southeast Exhibits and Metro Retail Solutions within Metro Exhibits. His career, on the contrary, was nothing but iconic.
This season, you look at Jamal Lewis, you see size. He's been anywhere between 230 and 240, the career average, all the touchdowns.
Regarded as one of the top tailbacks alongside Thomas Jones, Lewis was drafted in the first round with the 5th overall pick by the Baltimore Ravens in the 2000 NFL Draft. He made an impressive debut in Week 1 against the Pittsburgh Steelers, contributing to a 16-0 victory with 5 carries for 16 yards. By Week 3, he earned his first start against the Miami Dolphins and showcased his talent with 25 carries for 116 rushing yards and a touchdown in Week 4 against the Cincinnati Bengals, helping the Ravens secure a 37-0 win. Lewis continued to shine throughout his rookie season. In Week 12 against the Dallas Cowboys, he made history as the youngest player since 1960 to achieve over 200 yards from scrimmage at just 21 years and 82 days old. The following game against the Cleveland Browns saw him rush for 170 yards on 30 carries in a decisive 44-7 victory. By the end of his debut season, Lewis had amassed 1,264 rushing yards and 6 touchdowns, establishing himself as the Ravens' starting running back and earning recognition on the PFWA All-Rookie team. His standout performances continued into the playoffs. In the wild-card round against the Denver Broncos, Lewis powered through with 30 carries for 110 yards and 2 touchdowns in a 21-3 victory. He added another touchdown in the divisional round against the Tennessee Titans, contributing to a 24-10 win, and played a key role in the AFC Championship victory over the Oakland Raiders with 100 scrimmage yards in a 16-3 triumph. Lewis's incredible rookie year culminated in Super Bowl XXV, where the Ravens dominated the New York Giants 34-7. Lewis rushed for 103 yards and scored a touchdown, becoming just the second rookie ever to rush for over 100 yards in a Super Bowl. At 21 years and 155 days old, he also became the youngest player to score a touchdown in Super Bowl history, solidifying his place as a rising star in the NFL. In the 2001 NFL season, Lewis missed all the action due to an ACL tear and MCL sprain suffered during training camp, sidelining him for the entire entire year. However, he made a triumphant return in 2002, making a significant impact for the Baltimore Ravens. In Week 5 against the Cleveland Browns, Lewis showcased his skills with 26 carries for 187 rushing yards and added 5 receptions for 26 yards in a thrilling 26-21 victory. The following game against the Indianapolis Colts saw him contribute 126 scrimmage yards and 2 rushing touchdowns, although the Ravens narrowly lost 22-20. Lewis continued to dominate in Week 10 against the Cincinnati Bengals, rushing for 135 yards on 21 carries and scoring 2 touchdowns in a 38-27 win. By the end of the 2002 season, he played in all 16 games, starting 15, and compiled 1,327 rushing yards on 308 carries with 6 rushing touchdowns. Additionally, he caught 47 passes for 442 receiving yards and scored 1 receiving touchdown, showcasing his versatility and importance to the Ravens' offense. On September 14, 2003, Jamal Lewis made history by breaking Corey Dillon's single-game rushing record of 278 yards. He rushed for an astounding 295 yards against the Cleveland Browns in Week 2, earning him AFC Offensive Player of the Week honors. This remarkable game kicked off a streak where Lewis rushed for over 100 yards in 6 consecutive games. During this streak, Lewis had standout performances, including games with over 150 scrimmage yards against the Kansas City Chiefs in Week 4 and the Denver Broncos in Week 8. In Week 14 against the Cincinnati Bengals, he ran for 180 yards and scored 3 rushing touchdowns in a 31-13 victory. Lewis continued his dominance in Week 16 with 205 rushing yards against the Cleveland Browns, earning him another AFC Offensive Player of the Week award and the title for AFC Offensive Player of the Month in December. Lewis's outstanding 2003 season led to numerous accolades, including being named NFL Offensive Player of the Year by the Associated Press. He finished the season as the NFL's rushing leader with 2,066 yards. Lewis became only the 5th running back to join the prestigious 2,000 rushing yards club and added 14 rushing touchdowns to his impressive season stats. He was also honored as MVP and Offensive Player of the Year by the Pro Football Writers of America. In the 2004 season, Lewis continued to shine for the Baltimore Ravens. In Week 3 against the Cincinnati Bengals, he rushed for 186 yards and scored a touchdown while also making a big 46-yard reception in a 23-9 victory. His strong performances continued, including a Week 17 showdown against the Miami Dolphins, where he carried the ball 34 times for 167 yards and another touchdown in a 30-23 win. By the end of the season, Lewis had appeared in 12 games, starting all of them, and racked up 1,006 rushing yards and 12 touchdowns on 235 carries, with 10 receptions for 116 yards. Moving into the 2005 season, Lewis remained a key figure for the Ravens. He played in 15 games, starting in each one, and recorded 906 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns on 269 carries. He also contributed in the passing game with 32 receptions for 191 yards and 1 receiving touchdown. Despite his solid performance, the Ravens chose not to franchise tag Lewis after the season, allowing him to become an unrestricted free agent amidst speculation about his declining performance and contract disputes. Surprisingly, the Ravens re-signed Lewis in March 2006 to a 3-year deal despite acquiring Mike Anderson, seen as Lewis' potential replacement. The 2006 season saw Lewis score a season-high 3 touchdowns in a game against the Atlanta Falcons, finishing the season with 1,132 rushing yards and 9 touchdowns on 314 carries. However, in 2007, the Ravens released Lewis in February, hoping to re-sign him later. He instead signed with the Cleveland Browns in March and had a stellar debut season, rushing for 1,304 yards and 9 touchdowns, including a 2-on-16-yard game against the Cincinnati Bengals in Week 2. Lewis continued to be a force for the Browns in the 2008 season, starting all 16 games and rushing for over 1,000 yards for the 4th time in his career. By the 2009 season, injuries began to affect Lewis's performance, and he announced his retirement plans in November. He played in 9 games that season, starting 8, and was placed on injured reserve late in the year. The Browns released Lewis in February 2010, marking the end of his NFL career without signing with another team. Well, that was the end of his career, as well as the end of today's video, so make sure to subscribe if you already haven't, and while you are at it, comment telling us who to cover next.